Oil addiction makes us weaker. In terms of national security, we are sending $1 billion a day overseas to governments that often do not share our national values.
And some of these funds support terrorism. In fact, as former CIA Director James Woolsey says, this is the first conflict since the Civil War where the U.S. is financing both sides.
It's paying for the IEDs and EFPs that are targeting our troops in the Middle East. It is clear that our national dependence on oil is not only a threat to our national security, as well as a threat to our economic stability and our environment.
In terms of our economy, we're sending $1 billion a day. Now, I think we can all understand that if we were spending that $1 billion a day on American-made energy or conservation measures here in America, those dollars would continue to reverberate through our economy, creating a lot more jobs than when they're sent overseas.
Today we have a message of hope in this bill that we are working on. Independence from foreign oil is achievable in this legislation.
There are 5 major strategies for reducing our dependence on petroleum. I'll go through those in a moment. But this bill also creates a National Council on Energy Security, because if we're going to have a plan that will span a number of presidencies to take us to full independence, then we need to have a council that will continue to keep us on track over that time period. So those 5 strategies are: first, electric vehicles. Shifting from our current gas-dependent vehicles to electric vehicles in all their various forms is the biggest potential saver of up to 3.2 million barrels per day. The second strategy is more efficient freight transportation. A piece of that is trucks that utilize less diesel. And a second is to help shift reliance for future freight transportation to more fuel-efficient mechanisms, including barges and rail.
You can take a ton of freight right here from Washington, D.C., and move it to Boston, Massachusetts, and use 1 gallon of diesel fuel. Think about that. That's the kind of smart stuff we need to be doing.
The third strategy, smart metropolitan transportation options.
As we fund transportation projects in the future, maybe we should consider, well, how do they affect fuel consumption? How do they affect greenhouse gases? How do they affect other things like safety and congestion and stuff like that? And we say that those ought to be taken into effect.
A fourth is alternative fuels, advanced biofuels, and natural gas. And the fifth approach is energy-efficient homes and buildings. Now, see, this is 200,000 barrels.
The cleanest, most affordable form of energy is really the energy we never use. And in terms of low-hanging fruit, there's still a lot of low-hanging fruit there with respect to conservation.
Americans want to be free from the cartels, free from the special interests, free from unfriendly dictators who make us pay $1 billion per day on foreign oil. This is a bill that OPEC doesn't like, but the United States Senate should like.
This is not an issue of technology. It is an issue of political will. The concepts that are presented here are not concepts far over the horizon. We have the technology within our reach. The challenge that we face is to be able to have the political will as a nation to create a plan that is more than a 2-year plan, more than a 4-year plan, more than a 6-year plan, and to implement that plan over the next 2 decades. We are a can-do nation. We can do this, but it has to begin with having a plan and getting that plan through the United States Congress.